Well, guys, this is the end. My travels are over for now, but it's also the end of my search for an answer. The question I've been asking myself the past few years is, what do I need to do and who do I need to become to create the life I want? Earlier this year, I spent a month in Canada, and I figured out what I want. To put life first, living how I choose, and to grow into a better version of myself. Now, after these 3.5 months traveling in Southeast Asia, I have a much better idea of what I need to do to get there. And it comes down to 2 steps. If you don't know me yet, my name's Will, and I make films about my life and what I've learned. Thanks for tuning in.
Request all passengers to occupy your assigned seats for the duration of the flight.
Over this past year, I've learned that I have to do what excites, despite the fears, doubts, and hesitations in my mind. I can't just do it once. I have to make this choice over and over again. Many times, the things that excite me most are also the most terrifying. And it's because of the unknown that lies ahead. So many what-ifs come to mind. But after making these choices multiple times, I'm starting to see a pattern. The path doesn't always lead where I think it will, but each time, I'm glad I went down it. I get answers to the what-ifs, no longer having to wonder, and I learned so many lessons along the way. It's similar to how you sometimes dread going to the gym, but afterwards you're always happy you went. Then you go a few times and it becomes easier. Applying this mentality to the things that excite me has made a massive difference and continues to bring me closer to the life I want. Now, the other half of the equation is equally important. Reflection. This is where I process my experiences, reliving, appreciating, and taking lessons from them so I can move forward and realign with my path. Filmmaking is how I do this. Beyond staying present and appreciating the beauty around me, filmmaking allows me to capture who I am and what I'm doing, and to take a step back from my day-to-day to look at everything more objectively. When life is busy and exciting, it's easy to get caught up in the moment. So much is happening that I don't stop to take it all in, and I lose some appreciation for where I am and start to stray from my goals. While we were in the Philippines, I actually didn't film a lot. I had filmed so much of the trip in Vietnam, but I wasn't taking enough time to edit everything before jumping into the next adventure. So I became overwhelmed by the amount of experiences I had to process and lost some motivation to do more things, let alone document them. I hit a sort of travel burnout. Creating these films is how I reflect and integrate the experiences I've had, and I wasn't doing that. I wasn't reflecting enough. So moving forward, I need to take more time for myself to process everything, and I need to do it consistently. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but by making these first few films, I've started to see the parts of my process that need to change, that will make it easier to be consistent. The habits I have, the way I capture my story, and how I put it all together.
We made it.
I've been traveling for 3.5 months, my longest yet. It's amazing how much I change as a person when I'm out in the world, making my own decisions and taking my own path. When every day holds a new experience, whether it's a person I meet, a place I see, or an activity I do. I learn about what I want and don't want. I learn to listen to myself and understand how I feel. I find balance between being on my own and being with others. between exploring and taking some rest. And these are all things I'm still working on. There were times where I felt overwhelmed and burnt out, but it's starting to get more clear as to what causes it and how I can better avoid it. Most of the time it happens because I don't take enough time to reflect and process everything so I can realign my actions with my goals. But I think this is where these films can be really helpful. The idea is to live my life and document it, to live the stories I want to tell, so I can remember, reflect, and share what I've learned and who I've become, so I can keep moving forward and growing into a better version of myself. It's an extremely relieving feeling to know what to do, coming from a place where I had no idea, where it felt like I didn't fit any traditional paths. And looking back, I didn't just wake up one day and realize it. It came from trying things and following my curiosities, and having faith that the answers will come. All I could do was take one step after another, following my next best idea, and see where it leads. Part of me feared that these attempts wouldn't lead anywhere, that they'd be useless, and it would be a waste of time. But now I see that every step was the right one, and never trying my ideas at all would have been the actual waste of time. So this is the end, but it's also the beginning. I finally have an answer to the question I've been asking myself for years. What can I commit myself to for the long haul? The answer is to commit to becoming the best version of myself by following my excitement, trusting the process, and observing the lessons throughout. If I do these things consistently, then creating the life I want is inevitable.